We're back here on Ceraulo Sports Talk, and joining the show, it's a man whose 5 consecutive Grey Cup championships are a Canadian Football League record, which still stands today, the 1989 Walter Payton Man of the Year and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Warren Moon. Warren, thanks so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited about it, and also excited about this weekend. Should be a great football game.
It absolutely will be, and I can't wait to get to that. I can't wait to get to your legendary career, but I want to start with the ongoing Deshaun Watson saga that's taking place in the city where you became a legend, Houston. Just yesterday, Brett Favre spoke out and said he thinks that NFL players make too much money to voice their opinions. What's your reaction to Favre being critical of Watson?
I totally disagree with Brett on that one. I think players are making the money that the game has been able to generate, and that's the reason why these players are making this money. And they wouldn't be making this money if the game wasn't generating this type of revenue. So I'm more power to the players to make as much money as you possibly can, because it's very short careers, and in some instances very long, but in other instances very, very short. So you have to make what you can while you can, because you never know how long you're going to be able to play. And I think the more money you make, the more power you have to be able to make these types of decisions, to be able to be in a position where you can say, I don't like the way this is going, or I don't like the way that's going, and let's try and make some changes. And if we can't make any changes, then let's just part ways. So I think that's what Deshaun Watson has done with the Houston Texans right now. He feels like their ownership group is going in a different direction than what he feels is best for the football team to win. And I think a lot of other people agree with that, not just Deshaun.
Warren, I couldn't agree with you anymore. So what do you make of this entire situation? Where would you like to see Deshaun end up so that he can have the most success possible?
You know, I want him to go to an organization that's a stable front office and a stable ownership. I think that would be the first thing, that they both have the same vision of where they want to go going forward. I know Houston has to receive something out of this deal, because they're the ones that are going to be losing one of the top young superstars in this league. So the trade's got to work out for both sides. But, I think the New York Jets would be a good location for him. One, because they're starting with a new head coach in Robert Saleh. I think that's somebody that Deshaun really likes. I think they have the capital in order to make the deal work for both sides. I think the Jets are not that far away as far as, what they have to work with, and what they just need to bring in. They need to bring in a top flight quarterback, but there's also some other pieces they need. There's no question about it. And then you have teams like, if the 49ers were willing to part with their quarterback, I think that would be a ready-made situation. If they're not going to go forward with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think the 49ers would be a great situation for Deshaun, because this is a team, when all those injuries become healthy again, this is going to be another strong team that has a chance to go back to a Super Bowl.
And boy, that would be scary to have Russ Wilson, Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray, and potentially Deshaun Watson all in the same division. Hey, Matt Stafford's been a Ram for, it's not official yet, but all of about 96 hours. What were your thoughts on that trade that sent him to Los Angeles?
I knew there was a possibility of that. I thought he was going to maybe go to Indianapolis, but all of a sudden the Rams swooped in there with a better deal, and he's a Ram now, and I think he'll be tremendous in Sean McVay's offense. That offense calls for a quarterback to have a little bit more movement than what Jared Goff was able to do, and I think with Matthew Stafford's ability to throw the ball from the pocket, he has one of the best arm talents in the league. He's very experienced. He's got a lot of come from behind wins playing for a bad organization. But he also has the ability to move and do some of the things that Sean McVay wants to do with his quarterback. So I think it's a great marriage to go along with a number one defense in the league and all those weapons they have on offense.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a fun, competitive division next season. Now, Warren, looking at your incredible career, starting with your time in Edmonton, when you transitioned to the NFL, it took you about 4 seasons to really achieve some success. How much did your time in the Canadian Football League help or potentially hurt your transition to the NFL?
I don't think in any way it hurt it, only because you're out there playing every week. And even though the rules are different and things like that, you're still playing football, and you still have to complete, third down situations. You still have to score in the red zone. You still have to go through pressurized situations in ball games. So all those things help you as far as your experience is concerned, even though you're doing it under different rules with different teammates. The thing I had to adjust to in the NFL wasn't so much the rules, because I had played those rules pretty much my whole life. It was the building of our football team. We were a very young team when I got there. I was a 2-14 team the year before I got there. We had to build through the draft, and we finally did that. And once we got the players that we needed to start being competitive, we started to win, and that's kind of how it happened. So it wasn't a tremendous transition for me, but it was different only because you're playing with different guys, different offense, different organization, even different place where you go to drop your mailbox. You drop mail in the mailbox. You're in a different city, so all those things go into changing teams and changing countries.
Yeah, and that 5 consecutive Grey Cup championship winning record that I mentioned before, it's absolutely remarkable. It's a record that will likely stand the test of time in the Canadian Football League. After your first Grey Cup, or even maybe your first couple, did it start to lose its shine? Did there ever come a point where you were up there holding that trophy thinking, man, this should really be the Lombardi trophy?
It never really did. I enjoyed playing up there with that group of guys so much. And you don't really realize what you were doing until I was gone, and saw that, okay, we won 5 championships in a row, and nobody's done anything like this in any sport, in
Yeah.
any team sport. So that was something that was remarkable, and it's something that was great to be a proud of. And once you won one, you wanted to say, okay, let's go 3-peat. Okay, let's go 4-peat. And then let's go for 5. So we have one on every finger. So there was always a different motivation on why you wanted to win that next one. And now, as I look back on it, that was a very special time in my life. That was when I became a man. I was 21 years old, and when I left there, I was 26, 27. I had my first kids born up there, so there was a lot of great memories about being in Canada, along with the winning that took place.
Well, Warren, I will say this. As a New Yorker, I got caught up in Ontario at the beginning of the pandemic, ended up living there for about 5 months. And up there, you are as highly regarded as anyone who's ever walked this earth, man. You are a legend up in Canada. Look, you've got your name all over the league's record books, the NFL, that is. And despite not debuting until the age of 28, what would you have been capable of had you gotten that shot straight out of college?
It's really hard to say, only because you just don't know where you would have gone. I could have went to a team that had a veteran that played, 10 years in front of me. And the next thing you know, I never get a chance to play because this guy is playing so well that I can't unseat him. Or I could have went to a bad organization where we just weren't going to win. So you just never know. So that's why I never look back and say, what would have happened if this would have happened or that would have happened. All I know is what I did have as my opportunity, and that was to go play in Canada, and that's what I did, and I tried to play as best as I could. And then when the opportunity presented itself to come to the NFL, I did the same thing, and I came to this league and played as well as I possibly could, and both of them turned into Hall of Fame careers. So I really have no regrets. But yeah, it's fun to look back and say what if, because you just never know.
Of course, but you know what? It's an amazing mindset and mentality to have. And of course, you are the only player ever to be inducted in both the Canadian Football Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame here in the States. I mentioned among your accolades and accomplishments the 1989 Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Where does that rank in terms of everything else that you've accomplished?
I think it's the top award that I've won. And I think if you ask most players that have won that award, they would tell you the same thing, only because it not only signifies you as a really good football player, but it also signifies you as a good person off the field. And that's something that was very, very important to me. When you're an athlete, even though you want it or not, you become a role model, because a lot of young people look up to you. They want to be like you. And it's important that you carry yourself in that way. So for me to get that type of award over all the guys in the league who do so many great things throughout the year, that was quite an accomplishment for me, because there's a lot of great people in the National Football League, not just great athletes. That doesn't always get shown all the time, but guys are doing a lot of good things back in their communities. So this was one of the top honors, if not the top honor that I've ever had.
Absolutely incredible, Warren. Hey, I'm down here in Tampa right now. Let's get to Super Bowl 55. You're someone who played until the age of 44. So, being in Tom Brady's shoes, how remarkable is the success that he's achieving right now at the age of 43 to be back in the big game?
I wish I would have been eating avocado ice cream and all the stuff that he's eating right now. Maybe I'd still be playing. I mean, what he has been able to do has been unbelievable. He's been so consistent. He's really, great with his regimen. He's great with the way he trains. He's ultra competitive. I don't know what the fire is that keeps him going after winning this many championships, but he's still talking about next year already. I mean, the guy just never stops. He's just diabolical when it comes to competing in football. So I take my hat off to him. I got a chance to meet him as a young kid when he first came into the league and gave him a little bit of advice. But I tell you what he does and the way he does it, you just can't, you just don't have enough words to compliment this guy for how he's been able to play the game and play it so well for so long.
And now, Warren, on the flip side, when you look at Patrick Mahomes, such a young, talented quarterback, are there any reminders of a young Warren Moon when you watch him play between the arm strength and not being afraid to take a risk out there on the field?
Yeah, there's a few. I think he has a little bit more arm talent than I did. I think what happens is when he played baseball as a young kid, because his dad was a baseball player, I think that baseball really helped him as far as his arm and being able to throw the ball from all the different angles that you see him throw it from. He doesn't have to be as traditional as other guys, have everything, up under him, his feet and everything. He can throw it from anywhere. He even throws it with his other hand. And that's something that I would like to take from him one day. If somebody said, what can you take from Patrick Mahomes? I'd say I'd take the left-handed pass. That would be something I'd love to add to my arsenal. But more so than his physical gifts, I'm really impressed with his leadership skills because he's really taken over that team in a very short period of time. He plays with a lot of emotion, but it's controlled emotion. When he gets excited after a touchdown, that's great. But then the next time you see him on a drive, he's cool, calm, and collective. So I love the way he's able to go up and down, and the way he leads his football team more than anything for a guy that's only 25 years old.
He's absolutely amazing. So, Warren, before we wrap things up, which of these all-time great quarterbacks do you see coming out on top this Sunday?
I think it's going to be a great game. There's no question about it. Whenever Tom Brady plays in a big game, it's going to be a good one. It's probably going to be a close game, and I figure this one will be close as well. Most of these Super Bowls have been close, and all the ones I think that he's won, I don't think he's won one over 8-9 points. So this will be close, but I think Kansas City has just a little bit more firepower, and I think they'll find a way to win this game in the end. Just because of their firepower on offense. But I think it'll be a high-scoring game, something like 35-30.
Hall of Famer Warren Moon. Warren, what an absolute honor. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it, and enjoy the weekend.
Absolutely. We'll be right back with my final word on Ceraulo Sports Talk.